to another episode of St Vincent on Told Stories. On this episode, we look at Jarvis Horn, aka Smarty. You see, Jarvis was a youth that was employed by the sanitation department in St Vincent. How many young youths are willing to take up those jobs? Most of the time, you see more mature people. You see, a lot of youths are filled with pride. But Jarvis never watched the pride. Do you remember a voice from Trinidad did a song called Why Is This Thing Why You're Fighting a Brother? But you see, what a voice is really saying in the song is everyone deserves a chance to make a honest dollar. And Jarvis was the kind of youth that her voice was singing about. Older people have a saying that say, one can have more than you and still get jealous of you. Was this the case with Jarvis? Here we had a man that was trying to make an honest dollar, just cleaning the roads, picking up some garbage, and unknown assailants still had the audacity to send him to the graveyard. You see, Jarvis was an upcoming recording artist who had dreams of making it to the bigger stage. But like many others, those dreams were crushed. It have some men behind the prison bars who could not hold it. So, because of pressure, they went in and did a theft and robberies, and they were incarcerated. But here we have a youth by the name of Jarvis Hahn, who chose to do it the honest way, just like any man could have done it. If you ask the sanitation department how many applications they are seeing from younger boys, they might tell you hardly any. I remember when we was going to school, we had a friend that used to do farming with his dad on Saturdays. But when he was not in the farm and he was in school, he would wear the latest bags and the latest shoes. And he tried to impress all the young ladies. So, one Saturday afternoon, a young lady was going by her friend to braid her hair. And he was carrying a planting from the mountain to go home to meet his mom. And from the time the young lady spotted him and they made eye contact, the guy threw away the planting in the bush. It have a lot of youths out there who are living the life of an impressionist. They know things are really hard, but they give you this impression that things are nice. All because of pride. If you go to the financial institutions and you ask them who are some of the biggest investors on the island, they will tell you sanitation workers. You want to prove untold stories wrong? Go into every community and say you want 25 youths to do sanitation work, and you will see how much would come. If you get 5 out of the 25, you are very lucky. But what some of those youths don't understand is that sanitation work is a well paid job in places like US and Canada. People are fighting to get those jobs. You see my friend from school who threw away the planting when he saw the young lady coming. What he did not realize is that some of these young ladies are living the same hard life like other guys. And I knew that young lady very well. She had the same zinc fence, same furniture from court. Same outside toilet with other cockroaches. One should say mahogany board inside. What a lot of youths fail to understand is that you have to start somewhere. So while Smarty was doing his sanitation work, he was using that money and reinvesting. And he would normally go to the studio and he would pay for studio time. You see, Smarty was very determined, so nothing could have stopped him. Do you remember in one of my videos a long time ago, I mentioned the name Reggie from Byra? When I told you Reggie used to have a little bike with a loudspeaker on it, and Reggie always had the dreams of owning a vehicle. But you see, the work was not coming as it should on the mainland, so Reggie decided to journey to the Grenadines. And it's from there Reggie went on to own one of the biggest cars in the community of Byra. You see, sometimes you have to take a little and live. In this life, if you want to make something out of it, you have to hustle hard. I remember that many years ago there was a place called Adams in Canawan, and the water used to run into all the houses when the water was very rough. And I remember that sometime there were 20 something men living in one house. They would build bunk beds as if they were in prison, but they were there for a cause. They were there to go and get work to provide for their families back on the mainland. You see, and at a time, men could have relaxed a little bit. I take a 2 days or 3 days off from work, and there was no problem. But in 2025, cost of living is so high that you can't even take a few hours off. You see, when Smarty was sent to the graveyard, the whole nation cried because they saw his struggle. And you see, Smarty was not trying to impress any females, but the females were impressed because of his hustle. You see, a few years back, ladies might not have been impressed because there were those who were saying they prefer certain men in a certain positions. So if back then Smarty had liked one of the young lady and he went up to them and they probably found out that he was cleaning road, one of them might have said that he was not their type. But if you try that in 2025, it's going to be problems. Because, as I mentioned before, cost of living is so high that if that same young lady who made that sentiment got a chance to link up with a hustler like Asmadi, she has to be grateful. You remember back then when you could walk into Sicker Graves' supermarket and you would normally see all the women pushing trolleys. Do that now. You see, in different parts of the world, inflation is taking over. So with the inflations, if you used to carry $100 to shop and that would full a trolley, that can't happen in this time. So in the case of a Smaddy being sent to the graveyard, questions have to be asked. Did someone want Smaddy's job? Or was it a case of jealousy? You see, an unknown assailant would not target you just like that. Was Smaddy living a double life? Was he involved with anything that we do not know of? It is alleged that one Smaddy was just carrying out his work as usual when unknown assailants ran up and tack 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 and beat out the machine. And Smaddy got one to the head and he was on the ground grasping for air. And onlookers came to his rescue and they decided to videotape what was going on. And that video started to circulate on social media and people started to cry. They were saying that an innocent youth was sent to the graveyard. But you see, the day after, tack, 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 an unknown assailant, dressed in a construction vest and a helmet, and it is alleged that he had something covering his face, went in and tack, 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 and beat the machine like a drum. As a result of that, one man was hit, and police arrived on the scene shortly after. But the man was swift to make his getaway. The allegations are that it was a retaliation because of Smaddy's graveyard ascending. In St Vincent, we have fearless men. Men who will tell you they are coming for you 1 o'clock, and by 1 o'clock they are coming. And that is why I try to tell you, do not underestimate people. Sometimes when you see arguments happening, just walk away. And untold stories want to say condolences to the families of Jarvis aka Smarty. May your memories live on forever, youth.